Hi, I'm Mark Thorp. Coming to you from Pieces of Paradise, we have the opportunity today to spend some time with the Paradise Police Department, namely Sergeant John Wilkie, and also with Officer Tatum, who was named Officer of the Year for the town of Paradise just this last week. We appreciate them taking their time, and actually, we're going to find out more about what goes on in a police department, what actually occurs that you may be interested, the lifestyles they lead, and just how human they actually are. Ladies and gentlemen, the Paradise Police Department is a reflection of your community. And you, like us, would like to find out more. We'll spend time on a ride along today, maybe to have some discussion, ask some questions of the officers, and hopefully won't be interrupted by some other activity that's conducted in the community. But what we understand, they're just like you and me. They're just wanting to have some outreach with the community and be included in the process. So come on, let's go take a look at the police department, spend some time with some of Paradise's finest. Our town has always been seen as and known to be our paradise, but such a name can't be honored without honoring some of the people that make it all it's named to be. Today we are starting off our day with some of Paradise's finest, interviewing the officers previously named and talking a little bit about one of their newer four-legged officers. Let's meet up with Officer of the Year, Paradise Police Officer Tatum. So what's it like actually working as a Paradise Police Department right now, especially after the fire?
So a lot of the work that we do now is more proactive. As we all are aware, we don't have the population that we did before. And with that being said, there's not as many people calling in. That doesn't necessarily mean there's as much or more or less going on, just a matter of officers having to be more proactive to find it. So
absolutely, and I know for a fact, I mean, you were out there actually doing citations out for those minor infractions around the community. That's that proactive activity.
Right.
Rather than waiting for some major incident to occur and you have to respond to that in a different manner.
Absolutely.
You know, Officer Tatum, some of the things that people don't know about the police officers in our community is that they still have the same square mileage to cover, and that in fact they're the same 24 hours in a day, and that having the diminished numbers actually hurts that coverage. I know you guys are getting closer, what, 2 officers or so out?
Yeah, about that.
About that?
Yeah.
And having that coverage, but I think as a responsible citizen, I think a lot of people are invested, and that is that we need to bring the police department back up to its numbers so that we're not overtaxing individuals. You've all been pretty well taxed for the last couple of years.
Right.
Yeah. So, what made you want to become a police officer?
Really, some people call it corny, but I legitimately felt a need and a desire to help people. And so, after I left the military, I decided, I want to continue this path, and found Paradise, where I love it here, and continue to help people.
It's one of those commendable efforts on your part, and I think a lot of police officers share the same mentality.
Absolutely.
Also, I'd like to know what it is as a message you'd like to send to the community. I think that's kind of important. They don't have an opportunity to meet you as you're busy a lot of the time. I want to encourage people to be able to reach out a little bit sometimes, especially while they're in the community.
Right. Just not having a fear. If you have a concern about something, and just give us a call, whether it's something that's worthy of calling 911, or we also have a non-emergency number. And with that, you could bring up any concern that you have with our non-emergency number, talk to dispatch, and if it's something that we can check out or help them with, we absolutely will.
Now it's for the big questions. And I know these are really, really important to police officers. Hey, tell me, what is your favorite event in our community?
As far as overall, I'd say Gold Nugget Days.
Gold Nugget Days.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. So.
Right, and then we have the parade and all the logistics and everything associated with that.
Right. I will say additionally also, one thing I love absolutely seeing is the flags that we put out for different events. Just being able to go up and down Skyway and see the flags and all the different events for that. So it's.
You're talking about the parade of flags that they have
Correct.
a couple times a year.
Correct.
Veterans Day and some of the others. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, and that's some of the things that are important. And again, want to make sure that everybody recognizes the amount of work that you're doing and the other officers are doing. So much so that you've been acknowledged by the town of Paradise. And I have to say, by a large amount of the population, if not virtually all, for the efforts that you have put out, and to be recognized by your officer in the town is pretty special. So we want to congratulate you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Okay? Yes, she does, sir. Okay, so maybe you could tell us a few things about Officer Phoenix here. What do you think?
All right, so Phoenix is the offspring of K9 Cash, who recently retired about a year ago, maybe a little bit more. Cash had about just shy of 10 years of service, and Phoenix is working on about a year, just over a year actually, of service. She is 2.5 years old and has been fantastic to help me find narcotics in different situations.
And that's her specialty, is narcotic detection?
Yes. And then here, hopefully this year, we'll be going to a tracking course. So that way we'll be able to help out young kids that get lost, elderly people, and people that may have potentially committed a crime and don't want to contact us.
Well, for those folks in the community who are interested in, obviously, in supporting Paradise Police Department, but have a particular interest in supporting her, how can they help out? Who do they contact?
So I actually started a little stuffed animal thing that we have of each of our dogs here at Paradise Police Department. And the portion of the profits of that goes back to our department and helps support all of our canines.
Wonderful project.
So, and we also occasionally come out to do demonstrations for different events in Paradise, and generally speaking, our VIPs that run a little booth there, and we sell the stuffies that we have, and we also have, I believe, a little donation box as well. And all that money will go back to helping our canine program.
Such wonderful, wonderful things, and appreciate you taking the time to do that. And when you're mentioning things like, assisting in the detection or the finding of children, essentially, I don't know what else could pull at a parent's heartstrings or a community in general. Sure, the drug detection and some of the other things as part of the law enforcement components are vital. But boy, it sure gets us when we're thinking about our kids that could get lost, or an elderly individual. Or
absolutely,
really appreciate the PD addressing that and giving people an opportunity to be able to help out.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Oftentimes we have such demands on police officers, especially within the town of Paradise, and that, as I was making the point, that we have the reduced population, but then again, I mean, there's 24 hours in a day, and there's a large area to cover, and in collaboration with Butte County Sheriff and California Highway Patrol, it's a collective effort. So in supporting your Paradise Police Department, that means supporting what they do in general, or if you have issues concerning some of the behavior, of course, they want to hear it. I think it's important for it to be said. They're welcoming of the information. Not always is it going to be a convenient thing, especially if you're on the other side of it, but the reality of it is it's a safer environment because they're here. So kudos and hats off to the officers, both male and female, mind you, and of course the canine type that are providing also assistance as officers. So just want to throw it out there that if you have the opportunity, meet the officers, get a chance to talk with them, find out about your community.
We are working on a brand new fitness center.
Nice.
That was donated by Butte Strong Wellness.
That's North Valley Community Foundation?
Yes, sir.
Gotcha.
So we're in the middle of, putting things together. Officer Tatum's been working very hard at getting everything built, and as you can see, everything's still in the middle of the construction zone. But brand new weights, benches, treadmill, rowing machine, stationary bike. They've been very helpful on all of this being donated. So.
Right. So it gives you guys opportunity just to come in and get a generalized workout before you start your shift or after.
Yeah.
De-stressor.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Good for de-stressing, and
yeah.
It helps. So, and that way, since the gyms have gone and burned down, really isn't anywhere great to work out.
Right. No, good. That's an easy in the facility, so makes it convenient.
Yeah.
It's always easier. For the limited time that you have. How are you guys doing on personnel right now?
We have, if I recall, 2 open positions available.
Okay. And those are supervisory positions, or are they a line officer?
Actually, let me rephrase. 2 officers and 1, they just flew a position for sergeant.
Nice.
So.
Good.
Yeah.
I'll bring you back up to
18,
numbers.
18, 19.
So you guys are strapped with a lot of required overtime, or?
Well,
do what you need to do, cover shift.
yeah, well, it's it's shift coverage, and with as we get a very small buffer due to not having a lot of extra staffing.
Right.
So our average normal staff or minimum staff is 1 supervisor, 2 officers, right? 1 officer goes out, you have 1 supervisor, 1 officer. A supervisor goes out, you have 1 officer.
Right.
So we don't have a very large buffer if something goes wrong, or we have officers that are having families, children.
Life.
Yeah. So like I said, the buffer, we had 9 officers after the fire. That was all that we had. And I mean, realistically, 6 officers and 3 sergeants.
And that was 9 officers that would be, defining them all as the same.
Patrol.
Basically, patrol.
Yep.
But then we've got how many pre-fire?
Oh, we had 26.
Wow.
26 pre-fire.
So we're looking 55-60% loss.
Oh,
It's
was
huge.
It was very big, very significant.
And often people don't necessarily understand. I mean, yeah, we do have a reduced population as everyone's departure, but there's still the area to cover.
Yeah.
And that's often not taken into consideration.
Yeah. So I mean, and we ran 24/7, 365 with 9 people.
Right. Having to give up a lot of your personal life and time.
Well, there definitely was there. Yeah.
Yeah. Kudos to the families.
We have to wear so many different hats. Like I'm the range master, and a field training officer, a firearms instructor, taser instructor. I was K9, which I'm not anymore. But I've been working on this morning, setting up our retiree range. So we have to retire we have to qualify our retirees once a year,
I didn't
at
know
least
that.
annually,
Huh.
for them to maintain their CCW.
Gotcha. Taking this opportunity with the Paradise Police Department and Officer, I should say, Sergeant John Wilkie, I have to give it my brain that in fact you've been promoted to.
That was 2 years ago.
I know, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's a slow reaction on my part.
It's okay. Struggle with it.
So we wanted to take this opportunity to kind of go on a ride around here in the community, and we're only taking a short John out, but wanted to get a perspective on just what Paradise Police Department's all about, basically what they do on a daily basis, and kind of get away from the idea that they are always available to you by a phone call or some kind of concern or distress. They live regular lives like the rest of us. They have families, they have concerns like everybody else. Just thought we'd take you around and ask a few questions and let you be a part of the day.
Activities that we have up here are great.
You're right, and I mean, yeah, we've all been kind of hit by the COVID restrictions, all the things that are associated with that. And you see a slow resurgence of activity back in the community, with people being generally respectful and generally just cognizant of everyone else, while still conducting activity that we know is so important to keep everybody high in spirits. Yeah, no, I agree. Gold Nugget days.
Yeah.
And I will push for Johnny Appleseed days, because we want the darn pies back.
Those pies are amazing.
Right. So what's your favorite thing about being a police officer? What is it that you enjoy the most?
Interacting with the public. That's always been, let me rephrase, I can't say it's always been the most exciting thing I've ever done, because I didn't really know much about it until I became a police officer. But that is just, it's one of my favorite things to do, I used to, and I think a large part of that was being involved in the canine program for so long, talking and giving speeches and doing fundraising events, and I really kind of like public speaking. I was scared about doing it before, but I like going out and showing the general public that we're just people like everyone else.
Oh, so true. Influencing children, positive way, opportunities throughout the community, especially our kids that all realistic sense have those stress disorders associated with, you know, the educational system that's been modified to accommodate all of the campfire issues. I see a large need for these, I wouldn't even call them authority figures, I call them mentors. Basically to provide some of the direction for some of these kids. Public speaking being one of them.
If I can change one person's mind, you know, to make their day better, even to make them maybe look at us in a different light than they used to, that's what makes my day worth it.
I think that's a great message to send out to the community, and that's something that can be accomplished.
I think so. And one great thing I love, like I said, I really, really love about Paradise. I was raised in Paradise and I've lived here essentially my whole life, is that our community is fairly law enforcement supportive anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like anywhere else, you know. For the most part, we get folks that, you know, come from different areas that are not like our local populace, and we don't treat them any differently. And you know, I've had guys that I've, you know, made a traffic stop on that, you know, flip me off and curse me out, and all it takes is taking a step back and just listening with an open ear, and, you know, being that person that they can sometimes yell at.
True.
And, you know, and not taking offense to it, because we're all human and we all do things and we all make mistakes. But you know, the guy actually apologized and thanked me for what I did, and then shook my hand and left. And that I consider to be a, you know, very positive law enforcement contact. So right near the high school, it's almost time to get out. We'll watch the stop sign here for a few minutes. County Sam 121196. County Paradise Sam 121196. It's going to be in front of 5958 Maxwell.
So you understand what he's doing here is he's actually calling in the plate number, which will be provided to the dispatch, and Sergeant Wilkie's just making that connection because of a run on the stop sign. Basically wanting to know if there's any wants or warrants on the vehicle. He'll come back with him with information. It'll be displayed on his computer, or they give it to him auditorily over his radio. But again, it's about making connection with the community. Not always in a bad sense, but taking every opportunity. If in fact, you know, an individual has somehow created, or not somehow, but actually created some infraction, wants to make connection with them to keep the community safe. This is how it's done. So we just called in the registration here, just so you know. So ensure that the documentation matches the licensure.
So, you know, we don't write citations for every stop.
Yep.
A large part of what I like to do is I like to show the side of us that, you know, we're not just mean ticket writers, you know. We can go out and do our job at the same time, although there's a time and a need for getting that piece of paper. Yeah. County Paradise Sam 1210 morning.
Oh, you have to report it in this morning?
Yeah. Yeah. So they have to keep a CAD record of it. So we have to let them know if it's a citation, a warning, an arrest, no report, which is a documented incident. But like I said, you know, I like going and driving the bike path because, you know, you can show a presence there. It makes people feel more comfortable, and you can actually stop every now and again and talk to the people.
Exactly. Make that the priority of your job.
Yeah, I really, you know, I think interaction with the community will get you a lot further than anything else. We don't want people to feel ostracized from the police department.
Nope. So we've had the opportunity today to well, I should say that we've had the opportunity to spend time with Sergeant Wilkie and kind of get a perspective on the Paradise Police Department and the things that you really know down deep. It was well mentioned by the sergeant that basically this they don't want people to feel ostracized from the police department. That in fact it's a relationship building exercise every single day. And sure, there are times and places when things have to occur, but generally speaking, it's an outreach to the community. You have an active part in that, and that there were things like Officer Tatum had mentioned earlier about supporting the canine, being able to give opportunities to the police department they may not have otherwise. Take the opportunity, be a part of your community, and reach out to them in a non-emergency situation. They're part of our community. They have lives just like we do. So we'll see you next time, and thank you for participating in Pieces of Paradise. I'm Mark Thorp. We'll see you soon.